Sacramento County now has 45 confirmed novel coronavirus or COVID-19 cases, 3 of which have resulted in fatalities. It is also clear that Sacramento County now has community transmission of this virus. In order to slow the spread of COVID-19, we have been taking significant steps. First, focusing on containment strategies where we pinpoint the exposure and employ quarantine or isolation in places such as nursing homes, group homes, and the justice system. However, with the start of community transmission, we have had to protect the most vulnerable from exposure to this virus. So on March 9th, Sacramento County began undertaking strong mitigation measures intended to reduce the risk of death and illness among this most vulnerable population. These measures were intended to do 2 things: decrease exposure of seniors and the chronically ill to the virus while keeping less vulnerable populations from exposing the high-risk population. This evolution to mitigation has also allowed our healthcare system in Sacramento County to plan resources to take care of severely ill patients. On March 12th, state and federal health agencies issued guidance that supported our efforts on mitigation. And finally, on March 17th, the governor's office provided details that strengthened these efforts even further by prohibition of all gatherings, including dining in restaurants. That same afternoon, the county announced its support of these state directives and issued strong directives of our own, which urged those in the Sacramento region to stay home in pursuit of the ultimate goal, protecting those most at risk. In these past 11 days, however, the United States has learned a lot about this virus, but its continued spread in Sacramento County necessitates the additional step of issuing an order. Therefore, as of tonight, March 19th, 2020, at 11:59 p.m., or 1 minute before midnight, the Sacramento County Health Officer, Dr. Olivia Casiri, is directing all individuals living in the county to stay at their place of residence except for essential activities, which I'll outline shortly. The legal order is based on the same directives of social distancing issued this week to slow the transmission of the disease, but it provides more detail and enforcement ability. To slow the spread of the novel coronavirus, the legal order limits activity, travel, and business functions to only the most essential needs, with the overarching goal being to slow the spread of COVID-19 and to flatten the curve so that hospitals and other medical facilities are not overwhelmed with a wave of sick people. Let me reiterate. We are issuing this order with the overarching goal being to slow the spread of the virus and to flatten the curve so that hospitals and other medical facilities are not overwhelmed with a wave of sick people. In other words, to spread out the serious cases as much as possible. I know you probably won't be able to see this, but just as an example, if 20% of people were infected over the next 6 months, the darker red are how many hospital beds will be needed. If it's over 12 months, it's lighter, and if it's over 18 months, in other words, really spreading out the cases, it's virtually unnecessary to have additional hospital beds. The order, and bear with me as I describe some of the details, all of which will be posted after this press conference, states that all individuals currently living within the County of Sacramento are ordered to stay at home or at their place of residence. To the extent individuals are using shared or outdoor spaces, they must, at all times as reasonably possible, maintain social distancing of at least 6 feet from any other person when they're outside of their residence. All persons may leave their residence only for essential activities, essential governmental functions, or to operate essential businesses. All businesses with a facility in the county except essential businesses are required to cease all activities at these facilities except for minimum basic operations. And for the definitions of this, please see our public health order, which will be put out at the end of this news conference. All public and private gatherings of any number of people occurring outside a household or living unit are prohibited except for limited purposes as described in a minute. All bars and brew pubs should be closed. All in-dining at restaurants should cease, with the exception of home delivery and takeout, and all gyms, bingo halls, and card rooms should close. Nothing in this order prohibits the gathering of members of a household or living unit. Finally, all travel, including but not limited to travel on foot, bicycle, scooter, motorcycle, automobile, or public transit, except essential travel and essential activities, is also prohibited. Essential activities, those that are allowed, again, these are activities that are allowed, are defined by the following 6 categories. Number 1, engaging in activities or performing tasks essential to health and safety or to the health and safety of family or household members. Things like going to medical appointments that are urgent, obtaining medical supplies, and prescriptions. Number 2, obtaining necessary services or supplies for themselves and their family or household, and supplies for others, such as food and other grocery products. Number 3, engaging in outdoor activity, providing that individuals comply with social distancing requirements, as we've discussed many, many times before, such as walking, hiking, biking, running, or equestrian activities, including dog walking, again, with social distancing employed. Number 4, performing work to provide essential products and services at essential businesses and government entities, as well as other nonprofit organizations. Again, see the definition in the order. Number 5, caring for a family member or pet in another household. And number 6, and this is important, attending private gatherings of not more than 6 non-relatives in a home or place of residence, with social distancing being practiced at all times at such gatherings. This order shall become effective, as I mentioned, at 1 minute of midnight tonight, and will continue to be in effect until midnight on April 7th, 2020, until extended, rescinded, superseded, or amended in writing by the health officer. In short, what the order means is to take all reasonable means, whether as individuals, schools, businesses, government, or nonprofit organizations, to stay home, only venture out to public spaces when absolutely necessary, and to take any means possible to help others do the same. The goal is to comply with social distancing and limit groups from congregating together in a way that could further spread the virus. Thank you.